What's the experience been like to be inside of Elevate?
It has honestly been the most helpful coaching program I have ever been in.
Barbara Boldt, welcome to this chat. Can you tell our audience a little bit more about who you are, what your business is about?
My business is about helping non-native English-speaking managers and executives acquire leadership communication skills in English. And that is my niche because I lived in Europe for 20 years and worked with mostly non-native English-speaking people over there. And I just got to know their needs, what they struggle with.
So you heard about Elevate. What inspired you? What was going on in your business when you were considering joining Elevate?
I was actually considering last year, but I was in another coaching program last year. So I just didn't want to be overwhelmed by too many coaching programs, which I have a tendency to do that. What attracted me was the sound business advice. I needed to find an approach to creating a full pipeline. I think that's what we all struggle with, is where do clients come from? And how do we create a systematic way of attracting them? I needed to find that business advice, that solid marketing, sales. How do I do this?
What's the experience been like to be inside of Elevate?
I love the format of it. Having been through other coaching programs, and maybe I could say several, I think you've done a good job of mixing the number of meetings. I think the office hours that we hold for 1.5 hours are very appropriate. It's enough time. And I also like the fact that you structure that time. So we are sure that we know what we're going to get on that. It's not a waste of time. It flies by. It's like, there's so much good information in there. I love the support of other women. I love the fact that we're in here together. We share our wins. I think using Slack works very well for sharing all of the things that are going on during the week. I love the accountability on Mondays. That's really helpful to focus on just a couple of things that we know we have to report in on Friday. So, you're motivated to get that stuff done.
When you came into Elevate, you were doing a lot of marketing. You had a LinkedIn Live series, you were doing videos. And can you talk a little bit about our initial conversations around that and how things shifted around that?
Yeah, I think we all go down that path or fall down the rabbit hole. You get so much advice about posting every day on LinkedIn and this marketing heavy approach. So of course, that's where I was. That's the people I'd been listening to for the 5 or 6 months before I started Elevate had been singing that song. I resist it. I don't like posting every day on LinkedIn. In fact, I don't like posting at all. However, I know I need to do some, but I think finding the balance, and what's really helped me is to focus on conversations. And that's what you instructed me to do at the very beginning. It's like, Barbara, you need to be having 5 new conversations every week. And I haven't had 5 every week, but I've had quite a few. I'm meeting new people. I do have to create some marketing materials, getting my one-pagers sorted out and making the changes to my website, and which it's all necessary, but it's managing to shift the focus.
Yeah.
In order to get those relationships developed.
How did you get the consumer's energy contract, or the conversation, I should say, going?
Through a woman I met on LinkedIn who used to work there. I invited her to connect, and she's one of those people who said, wow, Barbara, I love what you're doing. I'd love to have a conversation. And so we had the conversation, and I invited her to be on Confluence, which is my show. And she, in turn, offered to introduce me to the 3 highest level people in the HR department at Consumers. And that's how this all came about. So it's definitely relationships that pay
Direct
off.
outreach,
Yeah,
relationships. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. I had another fantastic conversation with a woman Friday who, same thing, invited her to connect, just random outreach. She came back and said, wow, I'd love to talk to you. So we had talked once virtually. We met for lunch last week. She gave me all of this marvelous language. You know, what do HR people care about? What are they evaluated on? What key terms are going to trigger for them? I had asked her to review my one pagers that I had come up with. She gave me amazing feedback. It's like,
but that's incredible though, that you're getting that just through doing the direct outreach. And for people who are watching this, a lot of people are scared to do direct outreach. Now, of course, in Elevate, we teach you how to do it in a way that's not spammy or sleazy or gross. And you have been implementing that to great effect. In fact, every time I see you pop up in Slack, it appears like 9 times out of 10, you're having a really great conversation with someone that's leading you down a path of new business.
yeah. And it's interesting because I had actually hired another coach probably 2 years ago now who taught a very involved, intense LinkedIn outreach strategy. He wanted you to spend 2 hours a day and write these little messages and blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh. And I couldn't do it. There was no way I could.
Who has time?
I could take that on. What I have found that works is so much simpler.
Yeah. So we're recording this 2 months after you've joined the program. You still have another 5 or 6 weeks or so. How do you feel about the business today as compared to a couple months ago?
I feel much better about the business today. I'm more excited about it. And that's partially because I'm starting to have some success. I'm starting to start conversations and people are showing interest. I'm working on getting more systematic. I'm starting to get my head around that. I think that's where this program is really serving me, is to make me think that way. So that's so valuable.
You know, everything in Elevate, as you know, Barbara, is a systematic approach to getting more clients. And it really comes down to, we have to customize it to our business. We have to try things out. And as you know, as a member, I say on almost every call, today we're going to run experiments. What experiment are we running this week? Because we know that the general pieces of the system work. And then it just becomes, okay, is it a target market problem? Is it a flat tire problem? And then we fix that. We just take a little tweak. We begin to see great results. I want to shift a little bit and talk about you and the other members you've met, because of course we have the Slack channel where there's conversations happening all the time. How have you found the community inside of Elevate? Can you tell us a story about the experiences or the help that you've received from other members?
I mean, it's an amazing community and everybody's doing something so interesting. I've loved learning about other people's businesses and what they are trying to do in their lives. I think the best connection I've made so far is Dana, who also is in that DE&I space. And we've supported each other. She's given me some very key feedback on my materials. It's great to have the support of others when you post a win and people give you that feedback. It helped. Yeah, I'm always excited to post a win. It's like something happens and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to write about this.
Share it
in Slack. Yeah, so it's just that. And knowing also that other people struggle and kind of fall off the wagon. I think it was Valentina last week who was saying I'm laying low because, you know, we all go through that. And knowing that you're not alone and you're not the only one who might be struggling with some aspect or another, of the process is also super, super helpful.
One of the things that I like about Elevate as the creator, obviously, I'm a little biased, but one of the things I like is that we can actually share pricing information with each other.
Yeah.
And we
that
had
helps so
much because you can go on LinkedIn and ask random strangers, what do you think I should charge for this? But they don't know your business.
No.
Everyone in Elevate knows your business because we've been working together in this cohort. And I know that we had a sort of an interesting situation last week around this with some proposed pricing.
The lunch and learn pricing was a revelation because I've usually done lunch and learns for free. And I was like, oh, you can charge for this. I think that's probably one of the greatest resources, is being able to ask other people about pricing. I struggle with pricing all the time, and I'm sure I'm usually too low. And it's having that feedback and standing in my pricing, like owning it, is a huge game changer with the program.
I love that. I also want to talk about the advisory board. So one of the things that happened when you joined Elevate is you had the benefit of meeting other members who've been through the program, were completing the program, and have gone on to join our advisory board. So they are a few steps ahead of where you are, but they still are in the group contributing. So what has that been like for you to, be able to talk to people who are a few steps ahead of you in the program?
I like that aspect of it. And I like the way you incorporated it, because it's been intentional, and we've been encouraged to get to know each other and be introduced kind of in the program I did last year. She had a similar format, but it was very informal. So we never really felt like we got to know the new people. It wasn't like intentionally handled. And I think that's what really works about what you're doing and the way you're doing it. I like the fact that we see people who have made changes. We see the results they're starting to get. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant way to design it. I like that a lot.
Barbara, for people who are considering joining Elevate, what advice would you give them? What would you let them know?
I would let them know they should do it. They should just dive in, because it has honestly been the most helpful coaching program I have ever been in. And I have been in several. I will tell you this. I honestly, because it's so practical. It's so down to earth. The premises, the principles that you teach us make sense, and they work. And we have support while we implement. And it's not a huge financial investment or time investment. For me, it's the best money I've invested so far.
It means a lot to me because I just wanted to help women rise. I just want to help women make more money without tearing their hair out. And this started as a seed of an idea last summer.
Wow.
And our first cohort was in January.
Well, Laura, you are onto something here, because with your experience and your background and what you know, particularly about doing business with companies, that's what I'm finding most helpful. I need to know how to do business with companies, and that's what you know, and that's what you teach. So that's what works for me about this. A lot of us are, we have to sell to an HR department. And just finding out how to deal with 30-day terms in a contract. Oh my gosh, there's a method. There's something I can say. Yeah. I would not have known that. Yeah. So that's really the gift. That's, for me, it's that I need to be B2B. I need to know how to do that. And that's the path you're taking me on.
Well, I'm glad Elevate is designed to help women in consulting get bigger contracts with bigger clients. Teaching women how to make good money doing what they do best, sharing their knowledge and talent with the world. Yeah, I'm here for it.
And
So
knowing it's possible. I think that's the other thing that happens. And that's why this cohort and this program are so important. I have met with people, I have had one-on-one conversations with people who haven't got what I do. They don't get it. So the validation that I get in this program, that I'm not crazy, I do have a service that makes sense in a B2B environment, keeps me whole. If I didn't have this program, I didn't have you, and I heard some of this stuff from some of these people, because they're not stupid people. They just don't have the experience that I do. They haven't they haven't walked my path. They haven't lived in the world that I've lived in. I might believe them.
Right.
Before I probably would have said, oh, I would have doubted, but now I don't. I do not doubt myself now, because I have gotten validation from you, from cohort members, and from people I have conversations with.
And from your work, which is showing the results.
Exactly. I have clients who value me. So yeah, it's that, because it's so easy to get pulled off track and to start doubting yourself. So if anybody out there is going through that, they need to be in this program.
Barbara, you are just a gem. I love having you on our calls. I have loved from day one when you came in and you had a list as long as my arm of questions. And you were like, let's go, Laura. I got this one. I got that one. I got the other.
I'm not afraid to speak up.
Well, that's what we need. And I think you have brought so much to this cohort. I'm so excited for your business. I love watching the wins. I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you today. Thank you for being an Elevate member, and thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.